Good evening. You're watching our Egypt Bulletin here on Qnews. Let's get the latest developments. President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi and the CIA Director, William J. Burns, have discussed recent joint efforts to achieve de-escalation in the Gaza Strip and the urgent provision of humanitarian aid. During their meeting, President El-Sisi emphasized the critical need for a ceasefire in Lebanon to preserve its sovereignty and protect its citizens' security. He also warned about the dangers of continued regional escalation and its serious implications for the area. Egypt has condemned the rapid support attacks in Sudan's eastern Al Jazeera state and expressed deep concern over the unfolding events. In a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Egypt reiterated its call for an immediate ceasefire and the implementation of the principles of the Jeddah Declaration to safeguard the capabilities of the Sudanese people, enabling a serious humanitarian response from the international community. Egypt also expressed hope for a comprehensive political solution that meets the aspirations of the Sudanese people. The Chief of the Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Ahmed Khalifa, met with Lieutenant General Carmine Marciello, commander of the Italian Army, to discuss enhancing cooperation between the armed forces of Egypt and Italy. During the meeting, General Khalifa expressed pride in the long-standing relationship between the two countries' military forces and emphasized the commitment of the Armed Forces General Command to strengthening military collaboration in a manner that serves their mutual interests. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Emigration and Egyptian Expatriates, Badr Abdul Ati, has arrived in Uganda for a bilateral visit. Abdul Ati is set to deliver a message from President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi to Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. He will also hold meetings with Ugandan business leaders and representatives of the Egyptian community in Uganda. Egypt's ambassador to Greece, Omar Arma, has met with Greek Minister of Tourism, Olga Kefalogianni, to discuss strategies for enhancing cooperation in the tourism sector. The meeting focused on promoting tourist destinations in both countries. Arma and Kefalogianni explored ways to exchange tourism expertise to boost tourism and develop joint marketing programs. They also considered increasing direct flights to Sharm el-Sheikh and Alexandria to attract more Greek tourists to Egypt. At the New Partnership for Africa's Development Summit, the 70th meeting of the Heads of State and Government Orientation Committee convened in South Africa to coordinate the upcoming NEPAD Summit. This summit will be chaired by President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi in January, followed by the African Union Summit in February 2025. Ashraf Swalem, the permanent representative of the Egyptian president, led the discussions, focusing on strategies to enhance collaboration among African nations. A tripartite meeting focused on enhancing joint agricultural cooperation has been held between Egypt's Minister of Supply, Minister of Agriculture, and Jordan's Minister of Agriculture. The meeting took place during the regional forum to accelerate the transformation of food systems in the Arab region. The ministers emphasized the importance of exchanging expertise and technology, particularly in modernizing irrigation systems and improving the productivity of strategic crops. They also discussed increasing trade in agricultural products to diversify exports. World Cities Day celebrations have commenced at the Biblioteca Alexandrina, coinciding with Egypt hosting the 12th session of the World Urban Forum in Cairo from November 4th to the 8th. This year's theme is Youth Leading Climate Action for Cities, emphasizing the vital role of local governments and youth in advocating for decisive actions to address the climate crisis in urban areas. In economic news, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has met with Wen Bing, General Manager and President of China State Construction Engineering Corporation, to discuss the implementation of the Central Business District in the new administrative capital and various projects in New Alamein City. During the meeting, Madbouli highlighted the government's goal of establishing a medical city in the new administrative capital in collaboration with the Egyptian Minister of Health. He emphasized that this important project could be achieved through a partnership between the two sides. The Egyptian cabinet has approved the establishment of the Yada Egypt Free Zone in New Alamein City, which will require an investment of 70 million euros. The project will focus on the furniture industry and is expected to create 1,320 job opportunities, with workers residing in New Alamein City. The annual production is projected to reach 40 million pieces of furniture, targeting 100% exportation of the output, while local inputs are anticipated to comprise 40 to 80%. Egypt officially has launched a 50 billion Egyptian pounds initiative to support its tourism sector, providing financial opportunities and flexible repayment terms for tourism companies. The Ministries of Finance and Tourism announced that Luxor, Aswan, Greater Cairo, the Red Sea and South Sinai will receive priority funding. Finance Minister Ahmed Kuchuk highlighted subsidized interest rates for 5 years to stimulate hotel infrastructure growth. Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Sharif Fathi called the funding a crucial boost for tourism investment, enabling Egypt to accommodate more tourists. Egypt and Jordan have signed an agreement to establish a pipeline to supply natural gas to Al Khawira industrial estate in Aqaba. The deal, signed by the Egypt Gas Company and the Aqaba Development Cooperation, aims to develop a natural gas pipeline network and necessary infrastructure in the area. Minister of Industry and Transport, Lieutenant General Kemal El-Wazir, welcomed Spanish Ambassador Alvaro Aranzo Guterres in Cairo to discuss enhancing cooperation in transport and industry. The meeting included several leaders from the Ministry of Transport. The officials reviewed the progress of various ongoing and future transportation collaboration projects. They focused on the partnership with Spanish company CAF to rehabilitate and maintain 39 trains for the second line of the Cairo Metro and discussed the status of rehabilitating 23 trains on the first line. Additionally, they addressed the latest updates on consulting efforts for extending the first metro line to Shubra El Khema. The Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Ayman Ashur, has announced the production of 100 experimental cars in the 5th settlements. The minister pointed to a number of future projects for the two ministries, including the manufacture of low-speed electric cars. The first 100 experimental cars were produced in the 5th settlement's industrial zone, with a 60% local component and the target to reach 83% of the component within the next 3 years. Egypt's cabinet has greenlit a proposal from the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade to establish a private free zone at the Sidi Kiria Petrochemicals complex in Alexandria. The Draschem for Specialized Chemicals project will cover 157,000 square meters, focusing on the production of specialized chemicals, with an investment of approximately $158.6 million and the creation of around 500 jobs. Designed with a 100% local production component and a full export orientation, the project expects an initial annual output between 50,000 and 55,000 cubic meters, with a plan to double capacity in its second phase. Minister of Youth and Sports, Ashraf Sobhi, has announced details of the 9th edition of the Zayed Charity Marathon. Minister Sobhi stated that the marathon is not just a sporting event, but a noble message embodying the values of humanitarian solidarity, charitable work, and the strengthening of brotherly ties between peoples. The marathon is scheduled to take place in the new administrative capital on the 27th of December, in collaboration with the Abu Dhabi Sports Council and Tri Factory. The proceeds will support Hospital 57357. Mohamed Abdul Monim, Mustafa Mohamed and Omar Marmoush have joined the list of players excluded from the Egyptian national football team roster during the November camp, after an agreement was reached with the 3 players. The coach of the Egyptian national team and the trio have been in contact in the past few hours, with the aim of leaving the 3 players free to decide whether or not to be present in the Pharaohs' upcoming matches. Technical Director Hossam Hassan has expressed his desire to give professional players in Europe a chance to rest and focus on their clubs. Egypt is set to switch to wintertime tonight, turning its clocks back 1 hour at midnight. This seasonal time change comes as part of Egypt's effort to reduce energy consumption as winter approaches, a measure that aligns with similar policies in various parts of the world. The Meteorological Authority expects that tomorrow's weather will be cold at night and early in the morning, and moderate during the day in the north of the country and in the northern half of Upper Egypt. Director General of the Department of Meteorology and Early Warning of Weather Hazards, Mahmoud Shaheen, stated that tomorrow's weather will be unstable in the north of the country. He expects rain of varying intensity and occasional thunderstorms, with a slight decrease in temperatures. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here's what we've been covering. President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi and the director of the CIA discussed the latest joint efforts to achieve de-escalation in the Gaza Strip. Egypt's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Emigration and Egyptian expatriates arrives in Uganda for bilateral talks. And Egypt launches a £50 billion initiative to boost tourism. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin. Remember, you can stay updated by following Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram and TikTok at Q News EGY for the latest developments. Thanks for watching.